Hey, what's up everyone? Team Lynch, Spirit of Adventure. We got Bertha all fueled up, cleaned up. I got my traveling companions in the van, doing a cross-country trip for 2 weeks. Going to work from the road, Utah to Colorado, all through New Mexico, and then heading from west to east across Texas till we get to San Marcos. I'm working from the road. I also got this Verizon Inseego 5G Ultra-Wideband hotspot. Let's see how it works. Team Lynch, let's go! Okay, so finally got to our first KOA, like established campground. It's in Carlsbad, New Mexico. So the trip altogether left Riverton, Utah, went to on a Saturday. Yeah, Saturday. Went over to Grand Junction, Colorado, Palisade, Colorado area. Love that area. Stayed the night Saturday, boondocked it there. Immediately Sunday morning, made a beeline to Carlsbad, and Sunday night, yesterday, and then Monday night, tonight, staying here. I worked all day from Bertha. Tomorrow, be going to Fort Stockton, Texas. Be staying the night there at a campground. Then following 10 to Fredericksburg, Texas, to wine country, and then ending in San Marcos. And so the whole entire route, going through some really rural areas, things like that. I wanted to be able to work and do the van life stuff, populated areas, unpopulated areas. How do you get Wi-Fi? Like these new Wi-Fi kind of cellular hotspots have become really, really big right now with work from home and the hybrid stuff. So I thought, I'm gonna get a Verizon one. It's gonna be really cool. So I ended up picking up the Inseego 5G ultra-wideband hotspot. It does 4G LTE as well, and the regular 5G stuff is out there. Actually, I did a whole little unboxing of it. You can check that out here. So this is a mobile 5G hotspot, and I'm getting it through Verizon. Actually, I bought it through Verizon. Normally on my cell phones, I am an AT&T kind of customer, and so on my AT&T phones, I have unlimited data with so many gigs of hotspot before I get throttled. And I thought to myself, there's certain places where Verizon has good coverage and AT&T doesn't, vice versa. Also, Verizon, from what I understand, and this is June 2021, Verizon right now seems to have the lead on rolling out actual 5G networks here in the US. AT&T has a 5GE, which you might see that on your phone if you have an AT&T phone, but that's actually fake from what I understand. It's not real 5G. I got this hotspot specifically because it does both 5G and the 4G LTE. Specifically, Verizon offers a couple different jetpacks. This is the Inseego 5G. It is somewhat new. There's not a ton of reviews on it. It actually has mixed reviews. Some of the things that I read were that the battery life was somewhat weak. But some of those reviews also said that you can also plug it in and use it off of USB and it have infinite battery life, which is how I'm going to use it. So let's unbox this thing. But man, they really kind of... This clear tape is no joke on this thing. So okay, actually pretty big. I had some of the Verizon hotspots jetpacks before in the past, like several years ago. And they weren't as big as this. This is pretty big. Got the plug, which again, like I get it, runs off the battery, but it even came with a brick, which iPhones don't even come with bricks anymore. But yeah, and then the cord, so it's kind of the whole thing. So got the Inseego. Maybe I covered this already, maybe I didn't. Just to reiterate, I have unlimited data on my iPhone. It serves as a hotspot. It's 15 gigs. I'm going to upgrade it to the 30 gig hotspot. Decided to get Verizon because there's certain places like this Carlsbad KOA where I get about 1 or 2 bars at most on AT&T, but I have 4 bars out of 5 here on the 4G network for Verizon. So having used this Sunday night, so got here to Carlsbad KOA Sunday night, used it really extensively here for the first time. I did test it out in Grand Junction, Colorado to see if I would actually get the 5G ultra wideband or the 4G. And I'm not real sure. Right now it says 4G LTE. When I was in Grand Junction, it said 5G, but it didn't say UW, which is the ultra-wideband. So I tried this out in Grand Junction, just when I got there, just to see if it would connect to whatever network, to see if I could get the 5G ultra-wideband or the regular 5G or the 4G. And now that I think about it, I can't really tell. It said 5G, and when I did a speed test on it, I had 55 megabytes down a second. And about 15 to 20 kind of fluctuated upload. And I thought, oh wow, okay, it seems like it's 5G ultra wideband. But when I got here to Carlsbad, and I didn't do any streaming or anything like that in Grand Junction, when I got here to Carlsbad, actually I did a little bit of Naruto in Grand Junction, I am lying. So when I got here to Carlsbad, turned it on, saw that I had almost no bars, like 1 to 2 bars on AT&T, have 4 bars this, and it says 4G LTE. So I did a speed test on it. Looking at the speed test, had about 50 to 55 down, about 20 up. So it was the same that I got in Grand Junction when it said 5G. So I'm thinking I may have been on what is known right now as the 5G, which a lot of people are saying is kind of the fake 5G. It's not the real stuff like in Europe or in Asia, and the 5G Ultra-Wideband is like what they have there. So I'm thinking I was on Verizon's regular 5G, which in that case, really, really good downloads, really, really good upload speed. Today, I actually had the opportunity to actually use this with Zoom calls and Teams calls, and actually lost nothing, and it was on the 4G LTE network with Verizon. So here's something to note though. So I got the Unlimited Plus plan, and I think I even mentioned that like as I was unboxing it. Don't know if I put it in that part of the video, but if I didn't, there's unlimited data, there's Unlimited Plus. Difference is I get 50 gigs of the 5G Ultra-Wideband, 30 gigs of the 4G LTE 5G stuff. And if you're thinking, gosh, is that enough? So, Grand Junction, I think I watched 3 episodes of Naruto and a little bit of YouTube. Yes, I love Naruto. Guy Sensei's my homeboy. Watched a little bit of Naruto, actually, probably a good 10 episodes. Okay, I'm not going to lie. 10 episodes of Naruto. Once I got to Carlsbad Sunday night. And all together now, this is Monday, I had about 10 gigs of my 30 gigs used already in data. And my Zoom calls, and I only did my mornings calls. And so in my real life, besides Vanlife and YouTube, I'm a healthcare executive. And I just did my mornings calls, which is, I think 2 Zoom calls, maybe 2 Teams calls. And that used up another 5 gigs of data. So I have 26 days left in my billing cycle, and I'm at 15.16 gigabytes of my 30 gigs. So I'm not sure if I would be using this like exclusively. And some people might be looking at this video right now thinking, you stupid idiot, you're supposed to be finding Wi-Fi like Starbucks and other places and using this when you really need to. I'm also testing it for this video, okay? Back off. So I'm just kind of show how this works, and if you get a 30 gig Unlimited Plus plan and you're going to use this exclusively, it's not going to work, especially if you love Naruto like I do. If I do get throttled on the Unlimited Plus on the 4G, 5G, LTE, like the regular stuff, you go down to 600 kilobytes a second. That's a snail's pace. The 5G Ultra-Wideband only throttles you down to like 5 megabytes a second download. So you could still stream things, look at videos. You could probably even do Zoom calls and stuff like that. Just maybe, turning the video off or whatever. But I thought that was really good, but I've yet to find that network on this. So Colorado, down to Carlsbad, and I'm going to be in Texas. So far, New Mexico and Colorado, and in Utah, actually, at least the part of the valley, Salt Lake Valley I live on the west side of it now. I did not have access to the 5G Ultra-Wideband network, at least not from what I can tell. So, more to come. Check it out. All right, everyone. So, the road trip did not go exactly as planned. Sometimes it's great hanging out with family. Sometimes you do get caught up in stuff. And I worked for a couple days. And actually, the consistency with this hotspot, the Inseego, it was pretty good. Speed tests were about 50 megabytes down, anywhere from 5 to 20 or so megabytes up. And now I'm in Ouray, Colorado, on my way back to Utah. I'm doing the same thing. I actually didn't realize I was off today. I forgot that I took today off, so I was going to do a bunch of Zoom calls with this hotspot. And just like I said earlier in the video, I'm already just past the 17 gigabyte out of my 30 gigabytes of the 5G regular 4G total data. So I'm trying to be very, very thoughtful about how I use this. But what I've noticed, I'm here in Ouray, Colorado. We're in the middle of the mountains. I am parked at a campsite just so I can make sure I have enough power and everything to do what I need to do for the video and editing and all that stuff. But I've noticed here, I'm doing speed tests and I'm doing comparisons with my AT&T hotspot on my iPhone. And I've noticed here, the download speed's pretty good, but the upload speed is actually unusable. And I've also noticed, and I don't know if you can see it on here, and I'll zoom in for the video, but I'm on the 4G LTE here. So I'm kind of tucked in the middle of canyons. This is like the ultimate test for these kind of hotspots, is where you're kind of spotty cell phone coverage. I have really good bars here. I happen to be in this one little cut in the valley, and where most people work, and this hotspot would not work for me if I try to do Zoom calls right now. The upload speed is just not there. So I'd be using my AT&T hotspot through my iPhone. Other than that, it's been really good. But another thing to note is I looked at the coverage map, and I'll put the Verizon coverage map up, and I'll put the AT&T one up as well. You only get the 5G ultra-wideband in major metropolitan areas for now. So I have actually not uncovered any 5G ultra-wideband hotspot or areas for me to actually use this and do a speed test. Kind of concerning, because that was one of the reasons why I bought this, because it does both. And I get it, 5G ultra-wideband is still coming out, it's new technology, they're still upgrading the networks and all that stuff. But I already pay for it, and I pay for the data, and it's made to work like all over the country and all this stuff. So it's just kind of weird that it's only available in metropolitan areas where you'd have access to Wi-Fi hotspots like Xfinity, Starbucks, stuff like that. And I'd be using those anyway instead of this hotspot if I was in those cities. Maybe this is worth it right now. Maybe it's not. Maybe the iPhones or your Galaxy, whatever, you use your Android for hotspot. Maybe that's the better option right now until this 5G ultra-wideband gets more broad appeal. But for now, we're going to keep going with this. Okay, YouTube, so I'm back in Riverton, Utah, in the Salt Lake City Valley, just on the southwest side of Salt Lake City. And sure enough, I only have, I'm going to show to the camera here, I'm on the 5G network, but this is the fake 5G. It's the 5GE, as AT&T calls it. Because when I do my speed test here, I get about 5 megabytes down and about half of 1 megabyte up. So totally not usable for me here if I want to use this for any kind of Zoom, work from home, whatever it is. My AT&T coverage is not that great here either, so actually I use Wi-Fi at my house. So sure enough, true to form, you'll get pretty good coverage with this Verizon hotspot. I'd say if I was rating it 5 stars out of 5 stars, I'd say it's a 2.5 right now. I'd give it a mixed review too. And it's mainly because of just how hard it is to discern if you're actually in the for real 5G, like the 5G ultra-wideband or the 5G plus, what AT&T calls, or you're in a 5G that's actually 4G plus a hybrid 5G that really just gives you 4G kind of speeds, which is what I experienced the most with this thing. Actually, I've never accessed a 5G ultra-wideband network with this thing. So 2.5 stars. Do I think my strategy of using AT&T cellular hotspots with Verizon ones is going to work for an RV or van life type of thing? Yes. Where I had 1 or 2 bars of AT&T 4G or their 5GE, where my speeds weren't all that great in data, I had better speeds, data speeds anyway, with Verizon, and vice versa. So an Orway totally could not make this thing work for any kind of Zoom calls, but my AT&T hotspot through my iPhone worked just fine. So I do think you would have to do that if you truly want to be a nomad. You want to work everywhere, access Wi-Fi hotspots, and when you don't have Wi-Fi, you cellular hotspots. I do think you'll have to have both if you want to guarantee coverage. Now, this does come at a price. So I pay my regular AT&T unlimited data plan for my cell phone, which is 100-something bucks, and then it's just over $100. It's $90 or $95 for the unlimited plus plan I have here, but with taxes, fees, and all that stuff, it's just over $100 for this too. So all in all, while I have to use my iPhone for regular calls and things like that, so it's not really an apples to apples, but all in, I'm just over $200 a month on cellular data just to make sure that I can work from Bertha when I don't have regular Wi-Fi. So all in all, 2.5 stars on this thing right here. You can't even see it all that well. On this thing right here, about 2.5 stars. But I do recommend the Inseego for the battery life, the fact you can use it tethered with a USB-C and its infinite battery life, and for the forward usability that you'll have once they do finally get the 5G ultra-wideband out there and the backwards compatibility it has with the 4G networks. So, if you like what you saw, like what you heard, you liked the video, please consider giving me a like, maybe leaving some comments, maybe be a super nice person and subscribe to my channel. Until next time, see you in the next video.